And I think I have a solution that could allow the committee to move on to other important national matters like gun control and immigration. Your side clearly wants an investigation of Hillary Clinton, and our side has been begging for months to hold hearings and start an investigation of the Trump administration and campaign's improper ties to Mr. Putin and the Russian government. My solution would save the American taxpayers a lot of grief and a lot of money by eliminating the need for the investigations. I propose we simply go to the president and the former Secretary of State and ask them both to resign. I'll go to Hillary Clinton, you can go to Donald Trump, and we'll say them both to resign. Then we can move on as a nation from an election that just never seems to end. Now, I did Google organizations that Hillary Clinton leads, and it came out 0. So I'm not quite sure what you're going to get her to resign from, because she doesn't appear to be in charge of anything. Last time I checked, she got 3 million more votes than Donald Trump, but she lost the election. So I don't know, why don't we move on and really look at the nation? So, Attorney General, I'd like to ask you, you said earlier today it was a brilliant campaign, referring to the Donald Trump campaign. Is that true? You feel that?
It was a remarkable thing that overcame a lot of obstacles.
Brilliant campaign.
When
now,
people couldn't have...
In campaigns, candidates make promises during campaigns. You think candidates should fulfill the promises they make during campaigns?
People make a lot of promises, and
you think they should fulfill those promises. It was a brilliant campaign, a remarkable campaign. And as a member of the cabinet of President Trump, do you feel an obligation to fulfill those campaign promises? I mean, when he asked you to come on, did you think you should fulfill the campaign promises?
I believe the Attorney General should enforce the law first
I
and
understand
foremost.
Enforce the law, but he said you're helping him on the Muslim ban, on immigration issue. I mean, you think he should fulfill those promises?
President makes decisions, and if it's lawful, we defend it.
If it's lawful, if it's lawful. Okay, I like that if it's lawful. But you said it was a remarkable and brilliant campaign. He said, quote, during the second debate, "If I win, I'm going to instruct my Attorney General," that would be you, because he chose you, "to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation," referring to Hillary Clinton, "because there's never been so many lies, so much deception," end quote. And when Hillary Clinton responded, she said, "because you'd be in jail." Are you going to fulfill that campaign promise that he made during the second debate? Because he did say he'd put her in jail. He said he asked the Attorney General, you, to set a special process. That's what he said. It's a quote. I didn't make it up. What did he say? Are you going to keep that campaign promise?
I'll fulfill my responsibilities.
Are you going to keep the campaign promise? Is it yes or no? It's a promise that your boss, he hired you to fulfill. Are you going to fulfill?
We will comply with the law with regard to special prosecutor appointments.
Are you going to appoint one, as he promised during the campaign? He's reminded you a couple of times in a few of his tweets that that's what he wants you to do.
I'll fulfill my duty as Attorney General.
Okay. So the brilliant campaign, remarkable campaign, big smile on your face. You love the campaign, but you're not going to fulfill his campaign promises. I hope you don't in this particular case. So I'm kind of happy with your answer up to now. So as Mr. Attorney General, I'm going to ask you another series of questions. And I'd like to go back to the beginning of the hearing and get you to answer the following question. Are you aware that you are under oath and that your answers must be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Mr. Attorney General?
I'm aware of that.
Okay, good. So I brought this little salt shaker here. And you'll forgive me if I just put a little bit of doubt into that answer. And just to remind myself that I might need this. And I ask unanimous consent that this article from Mother Jones Magazine be entered into the record with the headline, "3 times Jeff Sessions made false statements under oath to Congress." I ask this because I don't want to hear in a few days or in a few weeks that your answers, Mr. Attorney General, have changed based on newly uncovered evidence that what you told us before was in fact false, misleading, or something other than the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I ask unanimous consent.
That objection be made a part of the record.
Thank you. Under oath, in the Senate, you said, as a surrogate, quote, "a time or two for the Trump campaign, you did not have communication with Russians, but in March, it was revealed you did." Did you have campaign communications with the Russians? Because it appears you have had campaign communications with the Russians, Mr. Attorney General.
That is, I'd like to respond to that. I thought I had the paper right here. Surely I do. Here it is. Mr. Chairman, take a couple of minutes.
The
I'd like
gentleman
to
may respond
respond
to
to
the
that. Colleagues, I guess say former colleagues.
They left.
Senator Franken asked me this question. Okay, CNN has just published a story, and I'm telling you about a news story that's just been published. I'm not expecting you to know whether or not it's true, but CNN just published a story alleging that the intelligence community of the United States of America, the intelligence community provided documents to the president-elect last week that included information that, quote, Russian operatives claim to have compromising personal and financial information about Mr. Trump, close quote. These documents also allegedly say, quote, there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump's surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government, close quote. He goes on to say, now again, I'm telling you this is all coming out, so you know, but if it's true, it's obviously extremely serious, and if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do? I was taken aback by this. I'd never heard of this. This happened while I was testifying, I suppose. And I said, Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate a time or two in the campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
And you're not going to correct that today?
My answer was responsive to his charge about a continuing...
But do you want to correct it or clarify it today for us?
The time of the gentleman has expired. The Attorney General can answer the question, but then we're moving on.
So this is really important. I appreciate the opportunity to share it. So my focus was on responding to the concern that I, as a surrogate, was participating in a continuing series of meetings with intermediaries for the Russian government. And I certainly didn't mean I'd never met a Russian in the history of my life. So I didn't think it was responsive, and my response was, according to the way I heard the question, as honestly I could give it at the time. I hope you'll treat me fairly when you evaluate that.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Marino, for